Virginia Beach sh00ter appeared to target supervisors in his department. The Virginia Beach gunman appeared to target supervisors in his department in the early moments of a shooting spree that left 12 people dead on Friday, according to a survivor of the attack and a city councilman. Authorities in Virginia Beach say they are still working to determine what motivated Dwayne Craddock to bring 2 handguns into his municipal office last week and begin shooting. In the meantime, the survivor and the councilman described how Craddock walked down a hallway past a number of employees on the second floor of Building 2 before firing his first shots inside of the building, in an area where senior engineers and supervisors sat. Craddock, a longtime engineer in the city's Department of Public Utilities, submitted a short letter of resignation the morning of the shooting. He wrote that he was. City Manager Dave Hansen said on Sunday that questions around Craddock's employment status were part of the continuing investigation, but that Craddock had not been fired before Friday, and that there were no. Jones, the councilman, said that his grandson was alone in an office on the second floor just after 4 p.m. on Friday when the gunman came to the door, looked at him, and then turned around, proceeding farther down the hallway. Soon after, Jones said his grandson heard a first shot fired. The 21-year-old Mike, an engineer who worked in Building 2 who would only give CNN his first name, said that he and his colleagues were first alerted to danger by a woman's scream from the back part of the second floor, where the engineering supervisors sat. Nettleton and Catherine Nixon, both longtime engineers with the city and supervisors in the Public Utilities Department, sat in the back area of the second floor hallway. They were killed in the Nixon was not in Craddock's chain of command, according to a city official. Randy Allen, another supervisor of the gunman's, was not injured during the shooting, according to a city official. It's not clear where. Allen declined to comment to CNN when reached over the weekend. Another official, Stephen Motley, is listed on the city's organizational chart as a utility engineering manager in the Department of Public Utilities. CNN has reached 4 people were hospitalized after the shooting. They have not been identified. On Friday, in the first news conference after the shooting, a time when details in an investigation are still usually fluid, Virginia Beach Police Chief James Cervera said Craddock entered the building shortly after 4 p.m. and immediately. In subsequent news conferences, however, Cervera has declined to comment when asked if the shooter had targeted any victims. On Tuesday, authorities have interviewed city employees who survived the shooting as they've worked to piece together the gunman's movements inside the building, according to police. Before entering the building Friday afternoon, Craddock shot and killed a contractor sitting in a car parked outside, authorities said. Craddock used to. Even after beginning his rampage, Craddock appeared to spare some city workers he came across, while shooting others. Ned Carlstrom, who works in the billing section of the city's water department, that he crossed paths with the gunman 3 times and walked out of the building physically unharmed. Authorities have said that victims were found on multiple floors of the 4-story municipal building, which includes a basement. Another city worker who survived the shooting, Christy Dewar, described huddling in an office that she and her co-workers had barricaded with a metal filing cabinet. Dewar said that she heard Craddock walking around on what sounded like the first floor of the building. According to Dewar, 4 police officers encountered Craddock on the building's second floor about 7 to 10 minutes after responders were first dispatched to reports of an active shooter, according to Cervera, the police chief. Cervera said the officers engaged the gunman in a long shootout through numerous office spaces before he barricaded himself in a room on the second floor. The officers breached the door and found Craddock inside, shot but still alive, Cervera said. As is their training.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up